Alright guys, so last night the news broke that outside linebacker, or I guess in the new scheme, defensive end, Preston Smith has taken a pay cut and his contract has been restructured. Now, I wanted to wait until today to give you guys an official salary cap update and look at Preston Smith's contract when it actually comes out and take a deeper dive into that. I feel like it wouldn't be right to do a salary cap update yesterday when we didn't even have the exact contract details, but now we do. So we're going to break down what exactly happened with Preston Smith's contract, and then of course take a look at the updated cap number for the Green Bay Packers. And you'll find everything Packers here right on this channel throughout the entire offseason every single day, from salary cap, free agency, the draft, and every other piece of news that comes out, all here on this channel. So if that does interest you and you haven't subscribed yet, go down and click subscribe. The Packers cap move with outside linebacker Preston Smith included $1.9 million coming off his $5.7 million base, source said. In exchange, he got up to $4 million in sack incentives. He'll need at least 10 sacks to draw on that, but in the new defense, he won't be dropping into coverage much. I love that final bit, saying Preston Smith won't be dropping into coverage much. It's just been like an ongoing meme that Preston Smith is cornerback one of the Green Bay Packers, but it is true. Under this new scheme, Preston Smith is likely going to have his hand in the dirt most of the time, and he's not going to be tasked with dropping into coverage, covering a slot wide receiver much in this new 4-3 scheme. And when they run nickel, he's going to be hand in the dirt anyway. So I do agree with that. So although he needs to hit 10 sacks, that's a very achievable number by Preston Smith. And I do want to clarify on one thing. It says he got up to $4 million in sack incentives. I believe he already had a $3 million sack incentive coming up for this year, and they added $1 million to that. So it's not a new $4 million on top of the 3, equating $7 million. It's just a way, I guess, the agent made it look like a great deal, right? In terms of like lineage. But it's only really an added $1 million sack incentive. So he can kind of earn that money back if he has 10 sacks on the season, which at that point, it's worth it. All right, so we're going to dive down into Preston Smith's contract. But before that, just to clarify, his contract was restructured, but this was a pay cut. Like, Preston Smith took a pay cut, and this is the second time he's done so in Green Bay. He did back in 2020. I mean, this dude is a Packer lifer. He said it himself. He wants to remain here in Green Bay. Very similar to Aaron Jones, and we could see yet another Aaron Jones pay cut. And now Preston Smith will remain a Green Bay Packer at least through 2024. Now, he is actually signed through 2026, but of course the cap numbers do jump up, but the salary cap also moves up. So now let's take a look at his new contract. All right, so diving down into this, we can see 2024, his cap number is down to $14.1 million. Now, his previous cap hit before this pay cut was over $16 million. So in a grand scheme of things, the Packers are saving like a complete save of over $2 million off the salary cap. They're not pushing that $2 million out to future years like normal restructures where they just push it out into future years or future void years. This is an actual pay cut. So the Packers overall this year and into the future are saving over $2 million from this pay cut. So now Preston Smith's cap hit will equate to 5.4% of the total salary cap in 2024. And taking a look at his future cap hits for 2025, a $17.5 million, will be 33 years old, and in 2026, $18.2 million when he'll be 34 years old. But the Packers do have an out next year. Say if this was the last year of Preston Smith and the Packers wanted to go younger, say they draft an edge this year and Lucas Van Ness takes the next step. Next year, the Packers could simply just cut Preston Smith, save $7.6 million, but incur $9.8 million in debt. But that still is definitely an out, or they could go yet another year, go through 2025 with Preston Smith still on the roster, and then in 2026, cut him for a savings of $12 million with 5.7 in dead million. He does have one void year added on his contract. This was already here. This wasn't part of that restructure, but it's only at 1.6 million. So next year, if the Packers want to keep Preston Smith yet again, look for that to be a little bit of a restructure where they push a tiny bit out into this void year to make next year a little bit more affordable as well. So now looking at the new salary cap number for the Green Bay Packers, and this is going to change like every few days because they're going to do more restructures and that sort. And of course, when we get into free agency, right now the Packers have $9.5 million in cap space, or $5 million effective. That takes into effect the upcoming draft class. So there's still a lot to be done. They haven't touched David Bakhtiari's deal, and they probably won't, right? He's still injured. If they were to go ahead and cut him, then we have an injury grievance issue. It's a whole mess. I made a few videos on this. We know the issue there. But there are still moves the Packers can make to clear more room to potentially bring in some free agents. As we see here, there's a lot of other high-end contracts outside of David Bakhtiari. I mean, that is by far the outlier here. But Kenny Clark, his cap number, $27 million. Will they extend him? Will they do a restructure and push more into the void year he already has? Jair Alexander, that should be an easy restructure. You know, this guy's going to be a part of the team for, you know, the next few years. So it's fine pushing some of that money out when the salary cap's going to go up, and it's going to look like an affordable deal in 2 years anyways for a top cornerback, right? He's due $23 million cap hit this year. That should get lowered a bit with a restructure. They could actually save up to $10.6 million on a max restructure there. Aaron Jones, he's definitely going to be a part of the Green Bay Packers in 2024. What they do with his contract, I don't think $17 million is going to remain as his cap number. That's very, very high for a running back. A max restructure would be pushing out $7.7 million. But the thing about that is he already has $6.6 million pushed out into next year's void year. So I doubt they'd do a max restructure, because then next year's cap hit would be $13 million when he's not even under contract. So they might push out some, maybe like $3 to $4 million, lower this year's cap hit to, you know, 14, 13 million, push out 3 to 4 million, and make next year's 10 million. Kind of just evening the two out, if that makes sense. Elton Jenkins is one I definitely could see a restructure here. They could save up to $5 million. Again, it's a guy you know is going to be a part of your team in the future. Devondre Campbell, you know, we've talked about him a lot on this channel. I see him as a post June 1st cut, which would save $10 million. Then, of course, you have Jordan Love here, who's going to get an extension after May. His cap hit at $12 million. That should raise a little bit. It shouldn't raise a ton. They're going to backload that contract, even though he's going to make $45-50 million annually. This cap hit isn't going to be anywhere near that in 2023. It's going to be backloaded because, as you see here, 2025, the Packers are set to have $92 million in cap space, and 2026, 151, and so on and so forth when less players are under contract. And then, of course, Rashawn Gary already had his contract restructured. So again, the Packers have a lot more options without even touching Bakhtiari's contract, which is, I think, the route they're going to go. It's upsetting because, you know, we kind of inevitably know what's going to happen, in my opinion. Bakhtiari's not going to be part of the Packers in 2024, in my opinion, but they can't really do anything right now. And yes, cutting him would save $20 million, but they can't do that right now. I wish they could, because then, hey, we could go out and sign a top-tier safety like Xavier McKinney or someone of that sort. But there's other ways, like I showed you, that the Packers can make money. But right now, you know, just over $9 million in cap space, and expect that number to grow in the next coming days before free agency, so the Packers have a little bit more money to play around with at the start of free agency. But that about does it for this video. Just wanted to update you guys on that Preston Smith pay cut. He is the definition of a Green Bay Packer. Again, you'll find all salary cap updates on this channel, so definitely go click the like button, click subscribe if you did enjoy the video. I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.